Now I'm going to do something different this time around. Instead of a console, I'm checking out a PC game. And be that as it may, it's an old PC game. It's literally the first PC game I've ever had the privilege to play. And play it I did. I am, of course, talking about the original Commander Keen game. Commander Keen was released in 1990. Developed by id, the makers of Doom, and published by Apogee, this game was an immediate classic with its smooth platforming, tricky puzzles, and easy to understand story. This is basically what happened. Billy Blaze, age 8, is a genius who builds a rocket ship out of household parts, namely a vacuum cleaner, gaming joystick, Everclear liquor, and a car battery. He flies to Mars when his babysitter falls asleep, then aliens steal those parts. He then needs to race to get them back so he can race home to Earth before his parents get home. Also, as a side note, apparently Billy is the grandson of the main character in Wolfenstein 3D. Bet you didn't know that. Well, neither did I until I did a bit of research. Thank God for Wikipedia. That simple storyline will be the basis of your journey. Finding those parts is very easy if you know where to look. However, there's many optional stages you can choose, and if it's your first time playing, you'll probably end up clearing every stage looking for those missing pieces. However, they don't get placed elsewhere, so once you know, you can complete the game in about 15 minutes. I even did a speedrun of it, and the link to it is in my description. When you begin the game, you're thrown onto the map of Mars' surface. You can choose any stage you want, as long as you have access to it. Once the level is completed, it's marked in a huge box as done, and you won't be able to redo it. You'll need to figure out what stages the parts are in, and complete them, because the parts are always located at the exits, so you're always forced to grab them before leaving. In the meantime, you want to grab as much loot as possible. Being that this is an older DOS game, it's all about one thing: getting a high score. Since it is a PC game, high scores are actually saved, so replayability is there. And when you have two brothers and a parent playing it as well, it's good motivation to get up as high as possible to make sure nobody dethrones your score. Basically, loot is scattered all over the place in almost every map. Oddly enough, it's mainly food. You can see one of the items is a can of Pepsi, which is a shame because I'm a Coke person myself. In fact, I'm drinking cherry Coke right now. You can also collect lollipops and pizza too. Soda and pizza, not a bad combination. You also collect books of the Martian alphabet and teddy bears, which give you the most points but are also the rarest. There's also a few other items you can collect. Keycards are scattered across several levels and allow you to open up color-coded doors in that specific stage. Ray guns give you about 5 shots of ammo. These ray guns are the only way to take out the Vorticon bosses and the aggressive aliens. Those are really the only two enemies that require you to shoot them. The other enemies are either harmless and just push you around, or they just can't be defeated. Ray gun ammo is pretty limited, so don't go nuts firing it. You can also find and collect the pogo stick. It's optional, but recommended because it makes some levels so much easier. The pogo stick allows you to jump much higher than normal. It's a bit more difficult, as you don't have much control over where you move, but it makes difficult jumps that much easier. As I said, it's not a required pickup, but I'd recommend it. You start the game with 5 lives, and collect a fresh one every 50,000 points. Considering that the whole point of the game, other than completing it, is going for a high score, that really shouldn't be an issue. I know I've mentioned that many of the enemies can't hurt you, but don't let that fool you. They can still push you into fire, spikes, creatures. And like many platforming games of its time, one hit means death. You are able to save the game in one of 10 slots. This can only be done on the map screen by pressing F5. The catch is that you can't see the save slot and where it's going to put you. Can't remember which save your last game was on? Just keep guessing. However, saving your game does save your lives, score, parts, and ammo. Pressing F7 will cancel your current game, and if your score is high enough, you can put it on the high score screen. So spamming this with a high score means you'll get your name on the high score board a couple times. There's 2 main areas you'll find on the map. You have your main areas, including forests and cities, and you'll also have your caves. Caves are typically stages that will take about a whole minute to finish, and they're just to get to an alien statue that will give you a hint. The main areas are the bigger ones that take a bit more time and usually have more goodies for you to grab. These stages typically take on the form of mazes of varying difficulty. Sometimes you can just hunt for the exit, but most of the time you'll need to find a keycard or 2 first. These locked doors are usually right next to the exit. The graphical style of the game is pretty basic. The enemies look pretty cartoonish, but the environments look pretty bland. Then again, you are supposed to be on Mars, the red planet, so naturally you'll be seeing a bunch of red all over. There's a few hidden blocks that you can only see 1 pixel of to the top left. Jump on this and you'll normally get to a hidden spot. Some blocks will drop you through them as well, but once you notice them, you can see the difference. You'll also see signs on many of the walls. The language featured on here is called the Standard Galactic Alphabet. Ever since this game came out, it's been featured in multiple games and sites. One you may have noticed is Minecraft. When using an enchanting table, the garbled symbols in there, that's the SGA. There you go. If you didn't know that before, now you know where it came from. There's also a few other humorous things thrown into the game as well. Although the single-eyed aliens are typically the ones you find the statues modeled after, you'll find one two-eyed one, which is the aggressive beasts. When getting close to that one, you'll get a funny message. In one of the ice levels, you'll actually see a snowman model off of one of the one-eyed aliens as well. It's just those little things that are kind of interesting. I mentioned the statues that litter the caves. Although most of the tips the statues give you aren't very helpful, there is one that tells you of a secret level. It's found in this torturous labyrinth level. If you fall past the fire, and make sure to dodge the one at the bottom, like I didn't, then go to the right, and you'll see a hidden block. Go past that, and then you get to this wall. It seems like you're stuck, but then if you jump at the ice cannon at the right angle, you get frozen in a block of ice and get launched over the wall. You'll actually get up to a teleporter then as well. This will bring you to the secret level of the game, which is littered with teddy bears. If you don't manage to get at least one extra life out of here, you seriously have something wrong with you. Going back to the teleporter will bring you back to the second half of the planet. Now, you may have noticed the sound effects by now. It's all from the PC speaker, which was the norm back then. There was no music, but take it from me. After listening to some songs from the PC speaker from other games, be very glad. The sounds on the other hand are pretty basic and fit the game well. You hear Keen's footsteps, and when you fall, it almost feels tense as the longer drops get you to be afraid of what you might land on. There's really only one other thing I need to mention. Control is to jump, Alt is to toggle the pogo stick, and to fire your gun, you press both of them together. This can get pretty tricky, as if you jump then quickly try to pull out your pogo stick, you may accidentally waste a shot. And as I said, ammo isn't exactly plentiful. Commander Keen was one of the best platforming games for its time. The story was enough to keep most people playing it. The game was also short enough so that the players could take turns seeing who could rack up the highest score, or see who can complete it the quickest. There's 6 other games in the Keen franchise, based off of 2 trilogies and a shareware game that never really got the recognition that I think it deserved. I'll probably review all of them at some point, but that's probably going to take a while and it's going to be in the future, methinks. Final score? 9 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.